welcome back. J-Bone here. This is going to be like my thoughts on the Dean Ambrose podcast done by Stone Cold on the WWE Network. And, as much as I wanted to watch it last night, I was helping my wife get some homework done, a project she was working on, and I ended up watching Raw super late, like midnight till 4 in the morning. Finally went to bed and forgot about the podcast. I was like, as I was going to bed, I was like, the Dean Ambrose podcast. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm staying up another hour for this. So I just got done watching it now. I couldn't watch it live. This is probably going to go down as one of my favorite podcasts. If you know me, you follow my channel, you know that Dean Ambrose is one of my favorites. But Dean Ambrose is special. And I don't mean Jerry Lewis special. I mean, he's different. He's not like John Cena. He's not like, looking at guys like who were, the big guys coming up within the last decade or two, like John Cena, Triple H. He's not like The Rock. He certainly isn't like, Randy Orton. He's in like when they made Dean Ambrose, they broke the frickin' mold. I look at him as one of those old school guys. Closer to like a Piper, something like that. With that hard work mentality and kind of keeps to himself. I mean, he's one of the very few guys out there that are as big as they are and in the position they are, and they're completely off the grid as far as social media. I mean, yeah, there's a Dean Ambrose WWE page, but it's the company page. He has no input on it. He made a Twitter a few years back because he joined the WWE, and he has one post on it saying, "Hey, I made a Twitter, enjoy." And I knew this would be special because you don't see a lot of the, inner workings, the ins and outs, what makes Dean Dean. The closest we've come to that is these little mini documentaries like, pre-Mania or pre-SummerSlam after the Shield broke up, that kind of stuff. And it shows a little bit of his past. Other than that, there isn't a lot of Dean revealing himself out there. I think he did a Colt Cabana podcast a couple years ago, but he's come so far since then. And to have a guy like Stone Cold just, lay it out there and just, have him talk about certain things that, maybe he isn't that comfortable talking about. Like, when he started diving into the whole childhood thing in the past, it seemed like he wasn't real comfortable talking about that. And that's understandable. But don't, and if a lot of people would take that as, his childhood was so rough and he can't cope talking about it. No, I didn't come off feeling like that. It's just one of those things where, people like to look at the past of someone and say, they had a rough childhood and they started down here and now they're up here and they, scrape, fight, and claw their way up out of the ghetto or whatever. And he doesn't look at it like that. He just, it was what it was to him, but he has no complaints about it. It's just, it was life, and he dealt with it. And the interesting thing about him saying that he dropped out of high school, they touched on that. They didn't focus on that. They tried to, he's the WWE champ, and I can understand why they'd want to not focus on things like that, because that's your top company guy, so you want to keep it safe, like, you obviously don't want him saying too many things that people would say, why is he champ? He did this, he did that, he's an embarrassment, stuff like that. The most controversial thing for me personally, that I got out of this was him talking about last year's, or not last year's, but this past WrestleMania when he fought Brock. And if you know me and how outspoken I was after this past WrestleMania on this channel and other podcasts on how upset I was about WrestleMania as a whole. I mean, I was very upset about the whole Brock Lesnar Dean Ambrose match because, like Dean said in the podcast, he threw everything into it he could, and he called Brock lazy, and that shocked me. Well, it didn't shock me, but the fact, like I said, it's one of those controversial things where it's like, holy shit, he called Brock lazy. Oh man, what is Brock doesn't give a rat's ass. Brock has a ton of shit now just handed to him, and I look at Dean like the complete opposite, where he had to fight, scratch, and claw to get where he is right now. And Brock's like, do whatever the hell I want. I'm Brock Lesnar, and that's why a lot of guys that I run with in the whole podcast deal have gotten sour on Brock. Yeah, is he money? Yeah, but his work ethic is shit. Oh, you show up, don't even say 2 damn words, make Paul Heyman say all your shit, and don't even try to put effort into creating a match. That's like, after hearing what Dean said about that, right before one of the biggest SummerSlams within the last decade, I'd say, how big this card is getting, and you look at what's coming. I know I'm getting off Dean, just give me a second. You look at where this SummerSlam is going with Brock and Orton, and you gotta wonder, what the hell are they gonna do? Is Orton going to go in this, trying to plan this? I mean, they're booking it great. They're invading each other's shows, and that's great. But is Brock going to do the same thing to Orton that he did to Ambrose? And if he does, that's bullshit. If you're going to do that, if you're going to be a lazy-ass worker, then you're not worth squat. You put the work in. Oh, you don't have to. Yeah, you do. Do it for the fans. You can't just show up and do whatever the hell you want. This is a business, You're you gotta work hard just like everybody else. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where that goes. But now back to Dean. Yeah, I was, I was upset about WrestleMania and the match. What came off in the match is evidence to what Dean was talking about in this podcast. And I've said that, and how Dean was booked. Everything leading up to WrestleMania, Dean put 110% in, the promos, everything. Brock just showed up, didn't do shit. And yeah, he came off as lazy, and Brock should not have won that. You're going to book it weeks and weeks to show Dean is busting his ass, cutting promos, show that he's crazy enough to fight Brock, then he should have beat Brock. That's how it should have been booked. And to have Brock just, not do jack shit, walk down there, beat him, give him 15 suplexes or whatever the hell it was, and then walk out. That was shit. So, yeah. And Dean said he was pissed off about that. So, I would have been pissed too. It's like you bust your ass at work, and, the guy next to you is getting paid the same as you, but he ain't doing jack shit. Hell yeah, that pisses, or paid more, significantly more. That's shit. That sucks. Oh, what else? Showed how unselfish of a guy, family wise, that Dean Ambrose was. How he said he helped his mom. Um, because now he's making. I don't know what Dean's earning. I don't know if that's been revealed out there sometime. But he's obviously, well, he's champ now. He's going to be earning pretty good. Maybe 7 figures. Who knows? But he is one of the hardest working guys. So hell yeah, I say he deserves it. Yeah, the fact that he helped his mom pay off her house, or whatever, however he put it, that says something about character right there. Um, and interesting how I'm gonna jump into the end, just bullet pointing certain things. I'm not gonna break this down sentence by sentence. How Stone Cold challenged him at the end, saying, "Okay, now you're at this semi-comfortable position. Use what you've got. You're running SmackDown now, and try to draw from who you were in the past, and try to push the envelope, push that character over the edge a little bit. Really, give 110% into it. Give the fans something. Give them that old school John Moxley that a lot of fans haven't seen. Guys like me, I've seen it. It's freaking incredible. I love that character, and we've been seeing bits of it throughout the last few years, but not the full blown Mox. And I can kind of compare that to CM Punk turning heel. I don't know if he can do that. It's like, just wait. Just wait. Wait and see, if he's, gives him the opportunity, gives him that freedom to just go off the edge. I have a really good feeling we're on the edge of something tremendous with Dean Ambrose. And I've been and I've said this before too, a very patient Dean Ambrose fan. Seeing him accomplish certain things that make you feel so good about him, and then he doesn't get crap for a while. And then, now you got this, and then they bring him back down. Now he's at the top, and he's helping run this whole new brand extension thing on SmackDown. It's incredible. Hell, even saw the little semi-controversial thing about, Brock's on the front of the gang on the SummerSlam poster. After people complaining about it, they came up with a new version where Dean's in front. He should be in front. He's the WWE champion, and it goes back to that old saying, kind of referring back to, like CM Punk's philosophy. The champ should be at the top of the show. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting how they book SummerSlam. But nonetheless, the card is tremendous. You can't go wrong with it. All sorts of good matches, great rivalries. And, it's... This is one of those special podcasts that you don't see a lot about Dean out there. So this is something that true wrestling fans like me, and yourself, if you're probably watching this, are going to gravitate to, because you want to know more about Dean, because it's hard to get those little pieces of Dean out there because he's not on social media. Yeah, he does interviews. He goes to radio stations and talks to them, or more local morning shows. He does stuff like that. But that's just all, little bits and pieces. So, yeah, this was cool. It was kind of difficult to watch because he's not. Watching Dean on the mic is one thing. Watching him in an in an interview is something completely different, where Stone Cold's trying to get stuff out of him, and Dean's kind of like, you want this out of me, but I'm only going to give you this much because that's all I got. So, I wouldn't call it frustrating. Maybe for some fans it was. For me, it was Dean, and I love Dean, so it was pretty cool. So that's my general thoughts on the whole podcast. I'm not going to break it down nugget by nugget, but a lot of fun. If you're a Dean Ambrose fan, go check it out, because he's a one of a kind right now. There's not another guy on the roster like him. There may be a few that are close as far as work ethic and stuff like that, but man, he's a one of a kind. And he's on top of the company right now. So that says something where the company's going. You know, it's been changing steadily over the last 3 to 4 years, big time, with who's come up from NXT and who's coming into NXT. It's one more thing I gotta say is, you know, people say, oh, there's nothing in the WWE that's entertaining right now. I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times. This is an exciting time. This really is. If you look who's on top of the company right now, and you look at who's coming into the company, and who's also on the verge of coming into the company over the course of the next, say, year or two, seriously, it's good stuff going on. And not everything is perfect in the WWE. But this is... Like I said, if all you're doing is reviewing VHS tapes from 1986, whatever, you know? Thanks for watching.